Nestled along the banks of the Xiang River, Changsha stands as a gateway to the ancient past, where the pulse of early Chinese civilization still beats beneath the surface. This city, with its roots stretching back over 3,000 years, was once a thriving hub of the ancient Chu state, and later a cornerstone of the Han dynasty. Buried deep within its soil lie treasures of dynasties long gone, bronze vessels, ancient manuscripts, and elaborate tombs that reveal the grandeur of a forgotten world. In this video, I'll take you on a journey back to ancient China, in which we will uncover the mysteries of Changsha's past, its kingdom and its legacy, the amazing discoveries at Mawangdui, the kilns of Tangwan, where artisans created masterpieces that defied time, and the pieces of ancient writing that have survived until now. Join us as we unravel the layers of history in one of China's most storied cities. Welcome to Antiquities Explorer, your guide to historic places. Follow us to different countries as we search for ancient artifacts. If you too wish to explore the ancient past through travel, we'll help you plan where to go, what to see, and how best to enjoy what you encounter. In this series of the AE, you can accompany Tina and me on our trek through China, homeland of the ancient Han, Bo, Miao, Di, Weiji, Jiang, and Rao. Come on, let's go! It was a hot summer day when I left Florida to travel to the other side of the world. And I mean that literally. It took me 2 days by plane to get there. My first stop was Changsha, and there I met up with Tina, my partner and guide, who lives about an hour's drive south of the city. When people here in the West are asked to name a Chinese city, not many are going to bring up Changsha, maybe because it's so far inland, but it is the third most populous city in central China, and in the top 20 for the country. The name Changsha first appears in a 2,400-year-old document, indicating that the city with that name was here even before the unification of China by the Qin dynasty. When the first emperor took control of this region, he established the Changsha Commandery, and that administrative division of his empire, with some fluctuations, would survive all the way up through the Tang dynasty, more than 1,000 years later. Red bean soup. Delicious. Our exploration of Changsha is going to focus on several key sites. Mawangdui, the site of important tombs discovered from the period of the Han dynasty. The Hunan Museum, which houses the fabulous artifacts discovered at Mawangdui. The Changsha Jiandu Museum, where the remains of hundreds of bamboo slips discovered here at Changsha are on display. And Tangwan Kilns, the site of where some of the most amazing underglazed ceramics from the Tang dynasty were produced. In this series, for convenience, we've classified all of our archaeological sites and museums into categories. Category 1 means the site is large and has a lot to see. It's the top tier. Category 2 is middle tier, which means it's medium-sized, and then Category 3 would be a minor site. You'll see the category number come up when you see the name of the site on screen. But before we do all of that, we will pay a little visit to the Changsha Museum to get a bit of information about the Changsha Kingdom, which existed here during the time of the Han Dynasty. This will set the stage for what we will learn at Mawangdui. Changsha Museum is located in Binjiang Cultural Park, which is in the Kaifu district of the city. The museum is small, the exhibits change from time to time, and they are not always ancient-themed. But when I was there, they had an exhibit worth seeing, and one that provided some interesting information about the Changsha Kingdom. The special exhibit is of the finds from the tomb of Lady Yu Yang. The tomb was found in an ancient graveyard right here in Changsha City in 1993. In China, you usually can't just walk into a museum and pay the entry fee. It is customary for visitors to make reservations through the museum website or its official public account on the WeChat app. WeChat is used for so many things in China. The reason for this is because museums and archaeological sites are popular in China, and they are crowded, so it's necessary to make reservations. You can then enter the museum by presenting your reservation QR code on your phone. Ancient texts, including the Han Shu, the Book of Han, tell us how the Changsha kingdom was established during a time of upheaval following the collapse of the Qin dynasty. In 209 BCE, a peasant uprising ignited widespread rebellions that toppled the Qin. This region was home to the Bai Wei people, a term for various ethnic groups living in southern China and northern Vietnam, known for their distinctive short hair, body tattoos, skilled swords, and naval prowess. Wu Rui, a Bai Wei leader and former magistrate of Poyang County under the Qin, organized a Bai Wei army to support the rebels, quickly rising to become a formidable force in the ensuing civil war. In 207, Wu Rui allied with Liu Bang, then a rebel general, and together their forces marched to the Guanzhong Plain, where they received the surrender of Ziying, the last ruler of Qin. The result of the conflicts was that Liu Bang eventually emerged victorious, founding the Han dynasty and becoming Emperor Gaozu.
In the chaos following the fall of the Qin dynasty and the setting up of the Han dynasty, the new Han emperor, Gaozu, he set up 7 vassal states. And one of them here is the kingdom of Changsha. So very important state, commandery that he set up to, all 7 of them would establish peace and stability throughout the empire, but this formerly had been part of the Qin state.
When the emperor established the kingdom of Changsha in 202 BCE, he appointed Wu Rui as its king, with the capital at Linxiang, now located within the bounds of the present-day city of Changsha, which has grown a lot bigger since. The newly established kingdom bolstered Han control over the heartland of the earlier state of Chu. The Wu family ruled Changsha for 5 generations, maintaining a steadfast alliance with the Han until 157 BCE, when the last king, Wu Zhu, died without an heir. However, the Changsha kingdom did not vanish. In 155, the Han emperor placed his son, Liu Fa, his least favored son, on the throne of Changsha, which was then seen as a remote and less prestigious post. The Liu family ruled Changsha, their influence gradually waning until 33 CE, when the kingdom was finally reduced to a commandery within the Han Empire. The Yuyang tomb is located on the western side of Shanjia Lake. The main tomb, which stretches 37 meters in length, features a long sloping passage, a vertical pit carved out of the bedrock, and burial chambers that house wooden coffins. Originally a mound covered the tomb. Archaeologists discovered 3 looting tunnels from the Han and Tang dynasties. Despite being robbed 3 times, the tomb remained relatively well preserved. The rectangular coffins were closely nested and placed at the back of the inner chamber. The lid of the outer coffin was removed by looters and left on the ground. The inner coffin was painted with red lacquer, while the outer coffin was painted black and decorated with red dragon, phoenix, and cloud designs, though most patterns are now barely recognizable. No skeleton was found, making it impossible to determine the burial position of the occupant. The tomb was constructed using the Tikos system, which includes multiple chambers, referred to in historical texts as Zigong, catalpa wood coffins, Bianfang, living room, and Huangchang Tiko, outer storage chambers. During the Han dynasty, this burial system was reserved for emperors and princes. Based on inscribed seals, wooden tablets, and comparisons with similar tombs, the Yuyang tomb is believed to belong to a queen of the Changsha kingdom, who lived during the time that the Wu family was in power. Many lacquer items bear the name Yuyang, which according to Han customs suggests a close association with the tomb occupant. Scholars speculate that she may have been a princess from the Han court, who married a vassal king of Changsha for political reasons. Some think Yuyang was the name of her estate. Since the exact date of the tomb remains uncertain, archaeologists rely on comparing artifacts within it to those found in other Western Han tombs to estimate its period. The style and design of the pottery and lacquer items are similar to those from the Mawangdui tombs. All these factors place the tomb most likely during the reign of the Han Emperor Wen, who reigned from 179 to 157 BCE. The Changsha king who reigned at that same time was Wu Zhu. He was the last ruler of the Wu clan. Was Yuyang his wife?
So this is really cool. This is the part of the door jamb to the tomb, Lady Yuyang's tomb. And the writing that you see on the front of it actually has her name on it, identifying her as the owner of the tomb. We don't have the whole inscription, but it identifies her.
More than 3,000 artifacts were uncovered in the tomb, including gold and jade objects, lacquer and wooden wares, ivory and rhino horn artifacts, wooden tablets, musical instruments, and pottery. Notably, over 20 musical instruments, both real and model versions, were found, including the se zither, ju, jeng zither, panpipes, and chime stones. Among these, 3 relatively well-preserved 5-stringed ju, a hybrid of percussion and stringed instruments, stand out as significant archaeological finds. These are clay coins, made in imitation of real ones, for the deceased to use in the afterlife. The finds from Yu Yong's tomb were marvelous, but from what I hear, they pale in comparison to the ones found in the tombs of Ma Wangdui. And Ma Wangdui is where we are headed next. We've only just scratched the surface of what was going on here during the Western Han period, and I wanted to find out more about the fascinating and elusive Changsha kingdom.
During the Western Han Dynasty, wealthy individuals across the empire commissioned elaborate tombs to honor and placate the spirits of their deceased ancestors.
Here at the site, we have 2 saddle-shaped hills. The name Ma Wangdui means King Ma's mound, and originally they thought this was the burial place of a Ma Yin from the Chu kingdom, actually from much later, but actually it's earlier than we thought. This is from the 2nd century BCE. These were excavated in the 1970s, and through the inscriptions that were found in the tombs, we have been able to determine who they belong to. And this is tomb number 2. It was the second one found, but it is the oldest of the 3, and it belonged to the main person here, Tang, who is the Marquis of Dai, a very important nobleman. This is during the Western Han Dynasty, and we've been able to figure out that he died in the year 186 BCE. There wasn't much found in the tomb, though. It was robbed way back in ancient times, so it's the least exciting of the 3 discoveries, even though it's the main tomb.
Li Zhang, the Marquis of Dai, Dai was the name of his fief in what is now Henan province, also appears to have served as the chancellor or prime minister of the Changsha kingdom under the king Wu Hui. Both Xinjue, his wife, sometimes called Lady Dai, and Li Shi, their son, passed away in the year 168 BCE. This was during the reign of Wu Ju of Changsha and Emperor Wen of Han, so this was around the same time that Yu Yang also died.
So here we have the side view of the mound, the second mound here, and there were 2 burials in this mound. This is tomb number 1, and this is tomb number 3. This is for the wife of the Marquis of Dai, and this is for his son, okay? And you can kind of see what's going on here. This is the wooden burial chamber, and then there was a white mud sealed around it. Then these are the excavated tomb walls, right? When they were building the tomb, they dug it out like this, but then later they filled this up and rammed it with earth, okay? And then up here we have sealing soil, and then there's another layer of sealing soil, and this is the mound like we see today. So little would you know when you see these mounds of what was underneath them, because it was just a grassy knoll, you know? But these mounds had something beneath them. Usually when you see a mound like this, an artificial mound, you know somebody put something there.
Since the excavation, tombs 1 and 2 were filled back up to preserve them, and only tomb 3, that of the son, is open for visitors to see, though every effort is being made to keep it in good condition. There is an admission fee, and you need to make sure you purchase through the WeChat app before they sell out.
Look at the size of this tomb. Wow, imagine the work that went into just digging this one tomb. Now this is the tomb of the son, Li Shi, the son of Li Zhang, and one of the better preserved tombs. Not quite as well preserved as the wife's, but still in great condition, and they're doing their best. This is the original tomb we're looking at right here. They're doing their best to keep it well preserved. Each of these tombs is made of a rectangular vertical shaft, and it's dug way down in the ground. You can see how deep it goes. And within that shaft, you have this wooden burial structure. It's made out of cypress wood, planks, and These structures have a name in Chinese. They're called guo, right? Is it guo? Guo in Chinese. And they assembled the planks with mortise and tenon joinery techniques. The style of tomb goes back to the Eastern Zhou period, but here we are in the Han period, which is just after that, and they're still using it.
During the Eastern Zhou period, this region was part of the Chu kingdom, and Chu tombs had compartmentalized layouts like this. Here at Mawangdui, nesting coffins were placed at the center of the tombs, surrounded by separate chambers containing various burial items. Layers of charcoal and white kaolin clay were used to insulate the wooden structures, along with pounded earth in the shafts. These protective measures not only helped maintain the structural integrity of the tombs, but also contributed to the remarkable preservation of artifacts. The Mawangdui tombs were designed to reflect a miniature universe, adorned with an elaborate visual scheme that depicted the journey through the afterlife. The layout of the underground tomb, consisting of 4 chambers, mirrored the perpetual cycles of the 4 seasons. The artifacts discovered within the chambers were arranged in a ceremonial sequence, following the cosmic rhythm of yin and yang energy flow. The artifacts discovered in the Mawangdui tombs are now to be found at the Hunan Museum, the best museum in Changsha, in our opinion. So that is where we are taking you next.
Sugar?
Sugar or less sugar?
A little.
一点糖。
一点糖，你的嘞？
我也一点糖。
So this is called congee.
我一听哈，
Congee.
就是cái uống冇得打，那些都冇得打，就是赢哎，夠贏哎，打包都會下。
The Hunan Museum stands as the largest history and art museum in Hunan province. Recognized as one of the earliest national first-level museums, it has served as a cultural cornerstone in Changsha for several decades, drawing millions of visitors. Every day, it's crowded.
The museum is open Tuesday to Sunday from 9 to 5. List entry at 4:30.
The Hunan Museum is free of charge, but you do need to reserve a spot in advance. The wait list is usually a day or 2.
Featuring a vast collection of over 180,000 artifacts, the museum boasts a diverse array of cultural remains from various dynasties all the way up to the modern period. But we are going to focus on the amazing ancient artifacts from the renowned Mawangdui tombs.
Hunan Museum, very big. If you want to see Mawangdui from street in front, you can go to front surround. Then have everything from Xinjui tomb. And then you go down. You can see Xinjui tomb and Xinjui body. It's amazing.
These tombs, with their remarkably preserved structures and an array of funerary artifacts, offer a vivid portrayal of daily life and burial customs during the Han Dynasty over 2 millennia ago.
Ooh, that's a model of the tomb, yeah.
When Xinjui's tomb was unearthed, it astounded researchers with its exceptional state of preservation. Wooden objects and silks within the tomb appeared almost untouched by time. While the construction of Lady Dai's tomb, the largest among the 3 discovered, caused some disruption to the tombs of her husband and son, all 3 tombs provide valuable insights into the ancient family's beliefs about the afterlife.
Guardian, it's a tomb guardian. Tomb guardian. Yeah. That's cool. Oh, I like his ponytail in the back. These are musicians, dancers, and singer figurines placed in the tomb. And female servant figurines. Interred with the deceased were 3 types of objects. One would be like household items that the dead person had used during their life, things like furniture or musical instruments, things that they could take with them that they were accustomed to. Another thing would be foodstuffs that were buried with the deceased for them to be sustained and then Mingqi, which is what you're looking at here. All these painted figurines, there's a whole bunch of them. These are servants that were spirit objects. They were intended to serve the deceased in the afterlife. Screen with painted cloud and dragon pattern. This is bamboo fan, and this is footrest for all you chess lovers out there. You like games? There we go. A Lubo chess set. A Lubo. But different from Western chess, yeah? Say. This is say, a kind of musical instrument. Gourmet food was kept in here. Just like in many lands, they bury the dead with food. Here you could see the remains of food that was discovered in the tomb. The museum is very crowded, and we're here on a weekday.
The extensive collection includes over 700 finely crafted lacquer items, showcasing the exceptional artistry of Han Dynasty lacquerware, as well as more than 500 intricately woven textile garments, highlighting the prominence of silk production during that era.
Just look at the quality, the preservation. Unbelievable. They found the remains of glutinous rice cakes in this container. Painted pottery box. Here as well, glutinous rice cakes. To sustain the dead person in the afterlife. These big flat plates with cloud dragon designs were all part of holding the offering. They all held offerings, all of these. They were planning on eating for a while. Of course, remember, these are coming from 3 tombs. This is interesting. These are for toiletries. These are layers of clothing they used to wrap Shinjui's body. I don't know if you can get a good look. This is a pillow cover. Check out this gorgeous robe. Slippers. And hand warmers, or I guess they're gloves. It's not often that clothing survives this long.
Among the notable finds were silk paintings, which are among the earliest examples of silk art in Chinese history.
So we're looking here at a silk painting. It's called Procession of Chariots and Horses. You can see remnants of the horses there, and see chariots, people. Can you imagine when this was new? Look at this amazing silk. It's a T-shaped painting on silk from Shinjui's tomb. It's in amazing condition. Wow. What preservation.
This painted silk banner lay atop Lady Di's innermost coffin, and it depicts a vertical narrative chronicling her journey from her earthly funeral to the celestial realm of immortality above. The upper part of the banner portrays a popular myth involving Archer Yi and his wife Changge. On the right side, 9 orange orbs float amidst a dragon and a twisting vine, possibly symbolizing the 9 sons shot down by Archer Yi. Meanwhile, Changge is depicted fleeing on a dragon's wing towards the crescent moon, carrying the elixir of immortality, rewarded to Archer Yi for his heroic act. In some versions of the legend, Changge is punished for her theft and transformed into a toad. So it's interesting that a toad stands on the crescent moon in Lady Dai's banner, possibly representing Changge's fate. A rabbit, also associated with the legend of Changge, leaps over the toad's head. At the pinnacle of the scene stands a female figure with a serpent's tail, likely representing Nuwa, the creator goddess in Chinese mythology.
And this is one from Li Shi's tomb. Look at the art. Absolutely exquisite.
The images you see, as well as the intricate arrangement of artifacts and symbols in both tombs, provides a narrative of the soul's transcendence beyond mortal boundaries, and offers glimpses into the aspirations and beliefs of Changsha Kingdom society.
Check this out. This is a physical exercise chart telling you how to do various exercises. Here it is reconstructed.
It's been suggested that the exercises depicted here are a proto-version of Tai Chi. While Tomb 3, belonging to Lady Dai's son, was not quite as well preserved as hers, it still yielded a significant collection of over 1,000 artifacts. But the most significant discovery in Tomb 3 is what sets the site of Mawangdui apart. In Li Shi's tomb was found an archive of texts inscribed on bamboo, wood, and silk. Over 50 historical documents. This trove of bamboo slips and silk manuscripts provides valuable insights into the culture, values, and wisdom of the time.
This is where they kept bamboo slips and silk manuscripts. This is from the book Divination by Astrological and Meteorological Phenomena.
Those are drawings of comets, each with a name, and it shows knowledge that comets' tails point away from the sun. Advanced astronomy for its time.
The book is fragmentary, but in amazingly decent condition considering the age. This is from Divination, a book called Divination based on the observation of 5 planets. Can you imagine finding manuscripts this old?
This is China's oldest existing book on astronomy, and some say oldest in the world. Its tables record the positions of Venus, Jupiter, and Saturn from 246 to 177 BCE. That puts its completion in the reign of the Emperor Wen of Han, during Li Shi's lifetime.
This is a map of the southern part of the Changsha Kingdom. A map. Look at that. With the rivers. What a great way of telling where things were at the time. Might even help to find new archaeological sites, you know? Probably has. This is a map of the garrison. I guess where men were stationed. Medical texts. This one's called Moxibustion Classic of the 11 Channels on the Leg and Arm. And this is a medical text written on bamboo slips. This is an interesting text. It's a book on sexual techniques. All right, need any advice on that? Here's a book on obstetrics. Look at this, an early copy of the RIVLZ. Amazing. And here is an excerpt from the Book of Changes, the I Ching, I'm not sure if this is the earliest copy of the I Ching, but it's got to be one of the earliest copies, if not.
I double-checked, and yes, the Mawangdui manuscripts of the I Ching and the RIVLZ, also known as the Dao De Jing, are the earliest known surviving copies.
This is an important historical text. Tales of events in the spring and autumn period. Actual telling you what happened in history. Now, it's about the spring and autumn period, but this is from the Han Dynasty, so slightly later, but it is an ancient historical source.
This book, called Chunchu Xiu in Chinese, was previously unknown. Its calligraphy suggests it was written in the 3rd century BCE.
For those of you interested in the art of war, a book of strategies from the Warring States period. Book of Warring States Strategic Advisors is what it's called. Really good condition.
The book, known as the RIVLZ in Chinese, is another one we knew about and had copies of, but this is the earliest known copy.
This is from the 4 classics of the Yellow Emperor. Now, you probably know the story of how the Qin Emperor was supposed to have destroyed all the classic texts. And here we find surviving copies of classic texts from prior to his period. This is from a book called Punishments and Rewards. I expect it's a divination text, I'm not sure though. This is from a book called Characteristics of a Good Horse.
We're going to go downstairs now to examine Xinjui's burial structure.
They really like to snazz that up. This is the tomb. Here we are looking at Xinjui's coffin, right? And it's not in the best shape, but her body was found in here. But this coffin was inside of this coffin. You see? That's a beautiful coffin. And then this coffin was inside of this coffin. Yeah? Look at the design of that. And then this coffin was inside of this coffin. Look at how huge it is. Gigantic. So it's like the Russian dolls, except with boxes, right? And she was way inside.
The decoration on the painted coffins depicted Lady Dai's journey to the afterlife and the realm of immortals, reflecting the belief that among Southerners during the Western Han period, that humans possessed 2 souls, an adventurous Hun soul, embarking on a perilous journey to the afterlife, and a Po soul, remaining with the body in the tomb. Lacquer, derived from the lac tree native to China, was highly valued, surpassing even bronze in worth. Its application involved a meticulous layering process, adding to its prestige. The largest lacquered coffin featured a black background adorned with stylized cloud forms and mythological creatures, while the second coffin had a red background embellished with auspicious animals such as tigers and dragons. These motifs were intended to guide and protect Lady Dai's soul on its journey to immortality.
That last coffin I showed you, the big one, was put inside of here. Now this is the wooden burial structure that Lady Dai was interred in, and it had 5 chambers in it. One chamber was for the coffins, the 4 nesting coffins, and then there were 4 other chambers for the various burial items.
Perhaps the most amazing find was Lady Dai herself. As soon as I turned on my camera, however, I was told by a staff member I was not allowed to take any video or photos of her. So that little clip is all you get. But here are some photos available online. Lady Dai's body was wrapped in 20 layers of opulent embroidered and damask silk garments, secured with 9 silk ribbons. Her body remained remarkably well preserved, her skin still soft and elastic, her joints still movable, as if she had died recently. Of particular intrigue was the discovery of approximately 80 liters of mysterious liquid surrounding the corpse, which scientists believe may have played a role in her preservation. This whole phenomenon greatly interested scientists studying preservation techniques and garnered global attention as a marvel. An autopsy revealed that her organs were intact and traces of muskmelon seeds in her stomach provided insights into her final meal. Further examination indicated Lady Dai likely succumbed to acute gallbladder disease or a heart attack, compounded by elevated levels of mercury and lead in her system, substances commonly associated with the pursuit of immortality. Changsha is known for another amazing discovery, a collection of bamboo slips with writing on them, in a volume so large that they surpassed all previously known collections in China. The finding of the Zomalo slips, as they are called, was one of the most important historical finds of the 20th century, on the same level as the discovery of the oracle bone script and the Dunhuang manuscripts.
The Changsha Jiandu Museum is dedicated to the collection, preservation, display, and the study of these bamboo and wooden slips. Known as Jiandu, its collection features Jiandu from the Han Dynasty and the Three Kingdoms period. The museum offers free admission, operates daily from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and is closed on Tuesdays.
Here are the various sites in Hunan where they found bamboo slips. Tina is showing me how Changsha has the most bamboo slips found, over 100,000. And Liye is in second place with 37,000. We're going to go to Liye later. Bamboo and wooden slips are long, narrow strips of bamboo or wood, each typically bearing a single column of brush-written characters. These slips were the primary medium for writing in China, before the widespread use of paper. For longer texts, multiple slips were sewn together using hemp, silk, or leather to create folding books, called jianse, or jiandu. Historical records indicate that bamboo and wood were used as writing materials as early as the first millennium BCE. However, it wasn't until the early 20th century that archaeologists discovered the first inscribed bamboo and wood slips at ancient border fortifications in northwest China. These early finds, mainly wooden manuscripts, date to the Han period. Later excavations in central China uncovered significant numbers of bamboo manuscripts, especially from ancient tombs and wells. The practice of burying bamboo books in royal tombs preserved many of these works in their original state for centuries. The oldest inscribed bamboo slips were found in the tomb of Marquis Yi of the state of Zheng, dating back to the late 5th century BCE, which we will visit in our next episode, while the oldest wooden manuscript dates to the late 4th century BCE and records a Qin state law on land division. Both materials were likely used much earlier, as China's writing system was fully developed by the late 2nd millennium BCE, as evidenced by inscriptions on oracle bones and bronze vessels. Although other materials like stone and silk were also used for writing, bamboo was preferred due to its availability and durability. Preparing bamboo slips was a meticulous process. After cutting the bamboo, the outer layer was removed, and the slips were fire-dried to resist decay and insect damage. Slips were then tied together to form a book that could be written on with a brush. However, each slip could only hold a limited number of characters, resulting in a bulky final product. One essential tool for writing on bamboo slips was a small knife used to scrape away mistakes or make corrections. These decorated knives became symbols of authority for officials, representing their power to amend records and edicts. Here are some of the bronze axes and chisels used to strip off the bamboo from the trees. And then here we have some saws and some knives, also used in the process. Writing toolbox. And some bronze scrubbers. These are replicas. And then some replicas of what are they called? Brushes. This is a replica, but it shows you what a wooden tablet looks like. So they have the slips, but they also have tablets that are like this. Or you can write just a bit on the side of a stick. These are replicas, but giving you an idea of what a complete version looked like. Earlier representations of bamboo slip discoveries are shown, but these are here for educational purposes and not from Zomalo, the museum's speciality. So these are replicas. The real ones are in the Hunan Museum. Wulipai Chujian. They're bamboo slips with writing, earliest representative examples of Chu script. This is prior to the unification of China and the unification of the writing system. These are replicas of Liya bamboo slips, which we're going to see later in the show. These Zomalo bamboo slips refer to artifacts unearthed in 1996 from the central urban area of Changsha. Over 140,000 bamboo and wooden slips were discovered, now housed in this museum, though only some are on display here and some in other museums. These slips, including wooden tablets and hand scripts, primarily document administrative and judicial matters from the state of Wu in the Three Kingdoms period. Additional discoveries at Zomalo occurred in the early 2000s, including over 20,000 Western Han period slips in 2003, 206 Eastern Han period slips in 2004, and thousands more from the Eastern Han period found in an ancient well in 2010. In the Han Dynasty, this area, Hunan, was the southern frontier of the empire and the first line of defense for enemies that came from the south. This is a particularly old one. It's from the year 122 BCE during the reign of the Emperor Han Wudi of the Han Dynasty, Western Han Dynasty. And it's about this area, Duxiang, and about land rent, land reclamation, and it's during the reign of Liu Shong, the king of Changsha. What's interesting about it, though, is about this area's preferential treatment for ethnic minorities. Apparently there were a lot of ethnic minorities here who were musicians and entertainers, and they were treated well in the Changsha kingdom. This is Han Dynasty. What's it about? More from the Western Han Dynasty. These ones here are from the Wu Kingdom and the Three Kingdoms period. In the Three Kingdoms period, this region was part of the Kingdom of Wu, sometimes called Sun Wu or Eastern Wu, by historians to distinguish it from other states called Wu in Chinese history. So the Wu Kingdom we're talking about is right here. This is the state that we're referring to, the Wu Kingdom. This kingdom was created in the final years of the Han Dynasty when a warlord named Sun Tse carved out a territory in southeastern China through conquest. This was in the late 190s. The Wu Kingdom nominally pledged allegiance to the Han Emperor Xian, but ruled autonomously. In 220, the Han Emperor finally abdicated, and that is when we get into the Three Kingdoms period proper. The Wu state officially became its own kingdom in 222 and was one of the three dominating China at that time, the other two being Wei and Shuhan. Sun Quan was its first true emperor. The Jiandu discovered at Zomalo are largely administrative documents from the Changsha prefecture of the Wu Kingdom. They deal with matters of law, taxation, finance, household registration, and the like. These big ones here are the bamboo slips of Zomalo, and they record the achievements of certain government officials, talking about their abilities and how they helped to create the state of Wu. But most of these bamboo slips are about the common people. And one of the things we learn from them is sort of the harsh life they had to live. When we think of the Three Kingdoms period, we think of the great strategists and generals, and their stories are great, but we learn about the tough lifestyle of the commoners in the Wujian from Zomalo. Up here on the second floor we find some from the Jin Dynasty, these are prayers. Western Jin Dynasty. You can see how the calligraphy has developed since those early examples. In the Jin period, paper was starting to come into fashion, but that was for the elites. The lower classes still used bamboo slips, while paper was used by the upper class. The invention of papermaking is traditionally credited to Cai Lun, a eunuch and courtier of Emperor Han Ho during the Eastern Han period. Cai Lun is said to have innovated papermaking to address the growing need for economical writing materials for official documents. Although earlier forms of paper existed in China going back to the 3rd century BCE, Cai Lun's contribution involved refining the process by adding tree bark and hemp fibers, which led to the mass production and global spread of paper. While his role was more of an innovator than an inventor, Cai Lun remains a pivotal figure in the history of papermaking. The Changsha Jiandu Museum is not large, but it is well worth a visit. You can see everything in about an hour. On another fine morning, we picked up some dumplings for breakfast from some street vendors and headed to the subway station. Where are we going? We're headed to another ancient site called Tongguan Kilns. To get there, just take the subway to the Tongguan Kilns bus station, and then a bus, it's free, will take you to the site itself. There is more than one stop, so make sure to get off either at the museum or the archaeological site. Do not get off at Tongguan Old Town, which is basically a tourist area. Tongguan Kilns, situated in the Wangcheng district of Changsha City, played a significant role in Chinese history. Tongguan, also known as Taodu, pottery capital, was renowned for its pottery ever since the Tang dynasty, with the kilns here serving as the birthplace of colorful underglazed ceramics. The ticket will get you into both the site itself and the museum. The Tongguan Kiln site spans approximately 5 kilometers, and a treasure trove of artifacts was found there. The core area of the site sports a huge, well-preserved Tang Dynasty dragon-shaped kiln called Tanjiapo, stretching 41 meters up the hillside. This kiln, along with 76 other kilns, 19 clay mines, product warehouses, and tombs, is a testament to the extensive ceramic production that once thrived here. This is the Tongguan archaeological site, and it was excavated between mid to late 60s through most of the 70s. And what you're looking at here is just the site of one kiln. Okay, the whole hill here, it was a single kiln that ran all the way down the hill, and there was a whole bunch of them in the area. We're sitting here right on the Xiangjiang River, which was a natural boundary between the Wu state and the Chu state during the Warring States period. There was a bridge, a legendary bridge that was supposed to be here that crossed between the two, although we have never found this bridge. However, the bridge was located probably around here somewhere. All right, and the production of the vessels, the pottery that was produced here at Tongguan, was very popular during the Tang period. And the earliest that we find here goes back to the Tang period. However, nearby, we do have evidence of pottery production going back to the Han Dynasty. Probably even in the Warring States period there was some. But for this particular site, the Tang Dynasty was the heyday for this kind of pottery production. Many structures used in the production workflow have been discovered, including, in addition to the kilns and clay mines, elutriation pits, furnaces, glaze vats, and packaging areas. All that beautiful pottery they made here.
Tongguan Kilns are open every day from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. but they close their stores at 7:30. Tickets are 40 CNY, which is $6 in US dollars.
These are all Han Dynasty. Okay.
This is Han Dynasty.
Okay. And what 3 states are mentioned on that one? This one here. What 3 states? Does it say?
3 states.
Oh, you mean 3 kingdoms?
Yeah.
Oh, 3
yeah,
kingdoms.
Yeah.
Oh,
So this is from the Three Kingdoms period.
Yes.
Oh.
The raw material used for making the ceramics was methodically harvested from the ground. It was a high alumina refractory clay we call kaolin, and it was ideal for this process. The kilns operated similarly to modern assembly lines, with potters, artists, glazers, and kiln operators working together to produce ceramic vessels on a large scale. Potters first shaped the clay vessels, which were then passed on to artists who added painted designs or stamped and molded decorations. The vessels were then given to glazers, who applied the signature green-tinged coating. Finally, kiln operators fired the vessels in large kilns capable of producing hundreds of items at once.
There were different kiln centers throughout ancient China, and they all had their own niches. So for example, you've got the Yue kilns down in the south, which were known for their celadon production. You have the Xing kilns in the north. They had this white glazed stoneware. And then you have the Tongguan kilns, and they carved out their own niche, and they were basically known for painted ceramics with glaze over the top. So it's underglaze painted ware. For those of you who have the desire to touch and to put pottery together, pottery fragments together, this is a place for the kids to play with the artifacts. These are replicas, but you have to try to reconstruct the pot. So you take these pieces here, and then you try to make that. Yeah.
While standardization was a priority, Tongguan ceramicists also embraced innovation, constantly experimenting with new forms, designs, and glazing techniques to meet the demands of domestic and international markets.
Beautiful glazed pieces here. This is beautiful Tang Dynasty ware. Look at this, huh? The inscriptions that you see on the pottery are decorative in nature, and they contain excerpts of poems. Your favorite?
More than 10,000 fragments of ceramics worth preserving have been found here. These pottery pieces, adorned with green-colored patterns depicting human figures, animals, plants, and landscapes, exemplify the masterful craftsmanship of the Tang period.
Just wanted to give you an idea of the sort of decorative work that came from this period. Isn't it gorgeous? But it's very distinctive, right? You can really tell the Tongguan style. These are headrests. Who needs pillows, right? You can just rest your head on these. I guess, what do you put your neck on it or your head on it? This is just gorgeous stuff. These are pitchers and drinking vessels. And then here we have teapots. What is this here?
Tea.
The circle.
Maybe this is there is tea. This is
It's tea and coffee.
Oh, we put tea and grind
Yeah.
grind it. Oh, so this is for grinding tea. Amazing.
Yes, okay.
These hold pens. Yeah. These are for incense. You know, when you hear people say like, oh, well, you know, the Tang Dynasty period was the peak for this kind of ware. It was very beautiful. And you're like, yeah, I'm sure pottery is beautiful, you know, but really, when you see it, it is just exquisite. In fact, I would love to buy some. I think they probably have replicas in the souvenir shop.
This industry reached its height during the later Tang Dynasty, and then went into decline in the latter hundreds during the Five Dynasties period, but the kilns remained active for many centuries more.
In 1988, fishermen near Belitung Island discovered a shipwreck. And the shipwreck contained a whole bunch of, this is a merchant vessel, it contained a whole bunch of pottery, and it was mostly Tongguan ware. They did radiocarbon dating of the timber on the vessel, and it came out to 700s or 800s. That's the Tang Dynasty era. And then, of course, the Tongguan ware was identifiable to the Tang Dynasty because of inscriptions using the Tang calendar era on the pottery. So it was a Tang Dynasty vessel, and here it is exporting Tongguan ware as far away as Indonesia. And we learned also that this ware got as far away as many other countries, Japan and Korea, and off into India. So lots of countries were purchasing Tongguan ware.
We only scratched the surface of what there is to know about ancient China in this series. If you want to go deeper into the rich history of this fascinating land, I do offer a college-level online course on China that might appeal to you. The link is below the video. Changsha was an amazing place to visit, and chock full of ancient treasures. But it was time to drive to our next destination, about 4 hours away, Wuhan. Perhaps you've heard of it. But we won't be visiting any labs or wet markets. We're going there to investigate some sites that will teach us about a time earlier than the imperial period of China, before the unification. In our next episode, we will explore an archaeological site that dates back to the Shang Dynasty, at the beginning of recorded history in China, and lay our eyes on the tomb of the Marquis of Zheng from the Zhou Dynasty, and to see the mind-blowing artifacts from his tomb at the fabulous Hubei Museum. Stay tuned, and don't forget to subscribe.